how do you manage sleep and travel at the same time? As you can tell, I'm not in my normal location. I've been traveling quite a bit for work lately. I'm actually traveling for fun right now, which can even make sleep a little more elusive. But here are some tips that are going to help you because we've already discussed this week how significant and important sleep is in your life. We've talked about how it can impact your health. And so it's really important to prioritize it, not just when we're at home in our day to day, but when we're traveling. The first piece of advice I have is you got to get ready for that time zone shift, right? I'm in Manzanita, Oregon right now. I was just in Orlando, Florida last week, and then next week I'll be in Virginia again. So I'm shifting around in a lot of different time zones. So I'm making sure that I'm honoring that, I'm tracking that, I'm understanding that. And I would give you the tip that it's not just about sleep, it's also about food in that regard, right? So don't just forget to eat for hours upon hours because that glucose roller coaster is going to mess with your sleep too. Next is going to be to create a comfortable sleep environment. You know, I always recommend that you bring a pillowcase from home. And I love the silk pillowcases that I have linked in my blogs about this. They're under $10 for two. And yet you can have a soft pillowcase on that hotel pillow if you need it. And it feels like home and it smells like home. I also travel with a small blanket, a heating pad, an eye cover, a sound machine, a diffuser that I use my oils in. I invest in my sleep environment. I put aside and allocate packing space for those items. It doesn't add up a ton, but it makes a big difference and it puts me in a good state to sleep wherever I am, whenever I am. Next is going to be to make your new surroundings feel more like home, and that can help you sleep. So maybe at home you happen to watch a show. Maybe you can watch that on your iPad. Maybe you have a certain scent that you love around bedtime when you're doing your ritual of cleaning your teeth, washing your face, whatever that may be. Try to keep those things consistent throughout your day. It feels more like home. You're going to feel more relaxed and be able to sleep better. Next is going to be to manage, to stick to a sleep schedule. This can be very difficult. For example, I'm taking a red eye back when I'm headed back this weekend. So that's going to be difficult, but I've invested in the idea that I'm going to be sticking to a sleep schedule the last 3 weeks, knowing that challenge is coming up, right? And actually, my travel day here was about 21 hours. So I've been really paying attention. So when and if you can, I know there are going to be exceptions for work or for play. It's really important to try to stick to a regular schedule. Like I always get 8 hours of sleep and I try to go to bed at this time and wake up at this time. The more you can keep that consistent, the better it's going to pay off for you. Next is going to be to manage your stress and anxiety. We all know, particularly in 2023, stress and anxiety can be a normal part of travel. And that sucks. But the bottom line is it shouldn't surprise you, right? You shouldn't be like, what? My flight was moved, the time was delayed. You've got to learn to ride those waves of stress and maybe anxiety. And maybe the reason you're traveling is stressful and full of anxiety. So give yourself the coping tools you need to manage around that and the support you need. Maybe you need some CBD. Maybe you need to have a therapist that you can call when you need to. Do consistent appointments on BetterHelp. It's nothing to toy with. Stress is a big deal, right? Anxiety is a big deal. And so managing it while you travel will help that sleep schedule stay on schedule. Next is going to be to avoid heavy meals and stimulants. Super hard. Maybe you've been celebrating with your friends and you go out. Maybe instead of the large ribeye, you're going to pick a smaller fillet. So you've still had a treat, you've had a generous steak, you've had something that tastes delicious, but you didn't gorge yourself, right? Heavy meals can be an absolute culprit in interfering with our sleep day to day. And especially if your basic life isn't like that, but when you travel, you drop that in more, that's going to be something that disrupts your sleep. Next is going to be to stay in sync with natural light to the extent that you can. The more you can get out first thing in the morning and get natural light on your eyes, it is life-changing. We're learning more and more in this research about how light plays a role in our sleep. The other piece of information I would give you is that this light makes a really big difference, right? It's really important that you're not on your device right before you go to sleep. That's part of your environment that we were talking about that you need to set up. We literally produce chemicals that help us sleep that only get produced in the dark. This is not the dark. So those are your tips for traveling when you sleep and why it's so important to do it. And if you want to join us for our sleep class in Charlottesville, Virginia, of course, that's going to be October 14th at 6:30. We would love to have you. There's going to be a make and take. We're going to be able to make a diffuser blend, a roller ball, learn about the stages of sleep, giving you 7 tools to be able to help advance your sleep better, and just meet with a community of like-minded people who are all trying to make ourselves happier and healthier. I hope this has been helpful. I can't wait to see you back here tomorrow live around 5, and I hope you have an outrageously awesome night because you deserve it. Take care, everybody. Mwah.